Hello, my name's Molly Caulfield. I'm the founder of the Girl Scout Gold Award Voter Vortex, and today I'm going to be going over a guide to absentee voting, mail-in ballots. This is especially great, as it says, for voting in college if you are a college student or about to go into college. This will have some really important information for you that I recommend you listen to, especially if you are an out-of-state student. If you're not, this does still apply to you, but if you are going out of state, this is very important information that you should know before you go. So, as I'm sure you've been told many times, voting is the only way you can impact your government. It is so important. And I want to stress how important it is because even though you hear it all the time, you may not fully know. This becomes very much more prevalent in your life when you go to college because you're impacted by all these political issues like student loans, funding for education and for certain programs, and the policies around your campus. So that means not only national elections, but also local small elections, because that's actually what influences your campus policies. Absentee voting or absentee ballots is that option that you have as an individual who's may not be able to go in place to a polling place on election day. I, of course, cannot be sure where you live, but me personally, I am from New York State, and absentee ballots here allow college students studying away from our state to vote, as do they everywhere. I don't know why I just said that. But this is so important because even though you might think, say you were going to college in Philadelphia, you might think, oh, I should be voting for candidates in Pennsylvania because that's where I live. That's actually not necessarily true. I think it's more important to vote for candidates in your home state where your family lives because that's what affects them. And also, you might be leaving, say, Philly in 4 years when you graduate, but those policies that you still voted for will affect that area even though you don't even live there. So I think it's important to vote from your home state. As I was saying before that little tangent, this opportunity of absentee ballots ensure that all eligible voters have that opportunity that they are naturally given being a citizen of the U.S. to engage in our democracy and make their voices heard, regardless of where they live or if they have personal circumstances going on. I'm going to go over absentee ballots really quick to make sure you have an understanding. It's also known as mail-in voting, mail-in ballots, absentee voting, absentee ballots. Many people are eligible for absentee voting other than college students, like military, disabled people, and even travelers. As I said, I don't know what state you are from. I am from New York, and I know a lot of my audience is from New York, but I'm sure these apply to most states. But here, to get an absentee ballot, you must submit an application by the deadline. The completed absentee ballot must be postmarked by our election day and received at the local board of elections no later than 7 days after the election, so you have about a week. These ballots then undergo that verification process, and they're counted just as much and right along with the other in-person ballots. So, as I very briefly mentioned, lots of people are eligible for the absentee ballots. Of course, as we're mostly talking about college students, if you're registered to vote in New York State, because that's the state I'm going off of, but can't vote in person because you're at school, but you're registered at your home address, your family's address, you are eligible. Military personnel, of course, are eligible because they're members of the U.S. Armed Forces, as well as their spouses and dependents who are stationed outside their home country are eligible. People with disabilities or an illness are eligible because they are physically unable to appear at the polling place. And travelers, if you're absent from your home country on election day, whether it's for personal reasons or you're working or you're just on vacation, you are eligible to vote by absentee ballots. Now comes obtaining an absentee ballot. First, you're going to want to go to the correct website for your state. For New York, the elections.newyork.gov request ballot works. Okay, so here's a little screenshot of that website on my phone. As you can see, this is where you'd request a ballot and apply for one. You may also be prompted to download a mail-in ballot application. These you can get in either English or Spanish, I believe, and this is how you actually apply to get one. Once you are approved, once you submit the application and are approved, you will receive your absentee ballot by mail, and you just have to complete and return the ballot by the deadline. Now let's talk about those deadlines. So for the 2024 presidential election, your ballot must be received and postmarked by November 5th and received by the voting office no later than November 12th. These dates will change for future election years, and just in case, I'd search those up yourself just in case they've changed. Other deadlines I want to quickly mention is the deadline for applying for an absentee ballot. That must be received by mail to the Board of Elections in your county no later than 10 days before the election. So I'm going to do some quick math. I think that would be like October 26th. Maybe I could be wrong, but look that up yourself to be sure. If your absentee ballot is going to be received in person, I'm sorry, it got cut off. For your absentee ballot to be, if it's going to be received in person, the applications must be received by your Board of Election no later than the day before the election. I apologize for the giant text box. There was some text that I don't know why it was there. It wasn't supposed to be. But now we're going to talk about completing the absentee ballot. So your instructions are to fill out your personal information accurately. I cannot stress enough how much this needs to be accurate. If you are unsure of anything, make sure to look at your official documents before doing this. Mark all your choices clearly, such as your party. Make sure it's very clear if you're picking a party. And make sure you follow any additional instructions that are written. Make sure you read the fine print. Now let's talk about returning your absentee ballot so it can be counted. So your options are to mail it into the local Board of Elections, or you can drop it off at I don't know if any. You can drop it off at a designated location. I would look into that if you're interested. Make sure you ensure that the ballot is postmarked on or before Election Day if you're mailing it. To track your ballot like you do with any package, you'll go to our state's tracker. So here's another screenshot of my phone for this website. This doesn't just let you track your ballot, but you can also check if you're registered if you're unsure. All you have to do is provide some personal information to confirm that you are who you are saying you are, and you should then be able to see the status of your ballot. If there are any issues and your ballot's not moving as it should, or you can't figure out the website for whatever reason, don't hesitate to reach out to them. They are there to help you. Don't forget that there are tons of voting resources available to you, and check them out. They're listed on the screen right here. They go from New York State Board of Elections all the way down to my specific township. But if you are not from where I am, feel free to look up your own area's resources. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something because this information is very important, and I hope you now think so too. If you would like to share this presentation with maybe your own students, your friends, anybody, it is available on my website, there's a link for it in the description of this video. Thank you for supporting my Gold Award, and I hope this video served you well. Bye.